Secretary of the board to start off the meeting. I think that was me. Hold on just a second, Barb.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Let's just let you use this.
Hello, hello.
Want to do that one? Yeah, let's do that one.
Now, this is just for rent.
Okay.
Just hold that up, that'll be.
All right. Now can everyone hear me? Good morning. I'd like to call to order the annual meeting of the Fairfield Glade Community Club Board on September 16th, 2016. If you will all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would now like to call before our President, Bob Diller, to introduce our Board of Directors.
Thanks, Barb. Sorry about the microphone problems and a little bit on the seating. We kind of based it on last year and the year before when we averaged 50 attendees. I guess we got a little more this year. That's great. I hope next year we can fill up all three bays. Introduction of board members. Let's start with Bob Weber, our general manager, for any of you that don't know him. Misty Keys, board member from the developer. Barb Storer from the timeshares. Harry Price, our treasurer. Steve Smith, vice president. John Conrad. Ralph Swift is our parliamentarian, and I'm Bob Diller. I think everybody knew me anyway. At this point, I'd like to turn the meeting over for a second to Ralph Swift, who's our parliamentarian, to explain the purpose of the annual meeting. Ralph?
Thank you, Bob. Can everyone hear me? Okay. It's really nice to see all these nice wide-awake people this morning. Today's meeting is a little different. It's not an actual board meeting. It's the annual Fairfield Glade Town Meeting. We don't pass any motions here. We don't entertain any resolutions or do any other board activity. However, there are three important functions that are accomplished today. One is the overview of the prior year, the year of 2015. I wish it was 19. Two, the treasurer will review the audit report for the year 2015. And three, the surprise election results are made today on that thing. There will be time for questions and comments after some of the agenda items, and then there'll be an open time at the end of the meeting for any questions or comments that you may have. So in order to keep the meeting rolling smoothly, we will limit questions and comments at that time to 3 minutes maximum. So don't be too long-winded on here. So that's the purpose of the meeting, so we can get right into it. So let me get Bob back here in the mic.
Most of you have an agenda. The first item on the agenda is approval of the 2015 minutes. Can I have a motion, a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. It says that I have the year in review next. We decided to do it a little bit different this year, and it's based on the fact that we've put together 5 and 10-year strategic plans, and then we do a 1-year review of what we've done. And you look at that 1 year squeezed into 5 or 10. So what we're going to do is not a long presentation, but we're going to go into what's happened in the club in the last 5 years, because we tend to forget some of the items you can't see that are done, that happen. And I invited the past board members, for anybody who was on the board the last 5 years, to be here. Bob Stackhouse told me he could not be here. Phil Gover, are you here? Phil was president for 2 years. Glenn Harper was on the board. He's in the back. Pete Cahill. I don't see Pete. John Muldoon. John's in the back. And Diana Schoenfeld, plus the members of the board that are here. So these are the ones that were involved in the last 5 years to accomplish the things that we want to talk about. Since I got to hold on to this, I'm going to take one hand. Okay, the first slide, our 2012, we developed our first strategic plan. We had a long-range planning committee prior to that, but never got into a strategic plan. I know I was on that committee. It was updated in 2015 with revised vision and mission statements. Our 10-year vision, Fairfield Glade will continue to be a growing resort community and become the best value master plan community in the United States. The Fairfield Glade Community Club will continuously improve the resort lifestyle experience while fostering and promoting a strong sense of community. This is the information that was put together 5 years ago, so that's nothing new. But we're just restating what the mission statements, et cetera, are. The guiding principles: improve our infrastructure. Example, roads, walking trails, lakes desilting, and the appearance of Fairfield Glade. Continue recommended maintenance program per the Upland Design Report. It's an existing conditions study, which we'll have a little bit more information on it, but we hired them to come in and look at all of the buildings that Fairfield Glade owns and has. It's 20-plus buildings, and they did a thorough analysis. You know, does it meet code, electrical, mechanical? What are the condition of all of the buildings, the heating and air conditioning equipment? Surprised how many things were found that were not to code because of overtime and how old they were, the efficiency that they have. Implement amenity improvement master plan. Keep dues and fees reasonable and no additional borrowing. Existing condition study of our amenities that Upland did. For example, what is now the library at the time when they did it, the study, was a multi-purpose building. The siding on the outside of the building, the bottom 6 inches of the siding had pretty much rotted away and then, needed to be fixed. We replaced that. The deck was declared as unsafe to walk on, so put a new deck on. Those are the kind of things that were done that never really got publicity, but we did that on almost every building in the Glade, including lighting, heating, and air conditioning. Having worked in that industry, if you have an air conditioner that was 10 years old, you should replace it because it'll pay for itself in energy savings. I don't know if that's still true today, but it should be pretty close to that. We put in new docks at Dartmoor Marina. This is all in 2012. Druid Hills Pool, new fence and lights. New drip field for the sewer treatment plant. Phasing in saved us over $1 million, and it may even go beyond that. We were going to put in additional spray fields, but doing some research, et cetera, found out that we could go with drip fields, which can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't have to shut it down when it's below freezing or if it's a heavy rain or whatever. So now all of a sudden, the extra storage that you have to have for all of that water to go out there, it's not there. It's not needed because we were able to keep doing it around the clock. Another one that just came up, and Bruce is working on this, we have not desilted the lagoons since they've been put in. there may be 3 feet or 4 feet of silt in the bottom of the final lagoon. It needs to come out. And the way it has to be done, or so we were told, is you take it out, spread it out, let it dry, and then haul it to a landfill. So start thinking about the amount of dollars that costs. Well, Bruce came up with a plan, went to the state, got a permit, and we're in the process of implementing it now, where we're going to be able to apply by suctioning off the bottom part of those lagoons and apply it to the farm that we own down there. It's used for agriculture. It fits that. It saves us. It could save us a couple $1 million. So those are the kind of things that we're looking at. There are the 2012 improvements. If you haven't been to Dartmoor and walked on the docks, you should do it. Compare it to what it was there before. It's like walking on a sidewalk. You don't know that you're on a dock. Druid Pool, we did all external improvements. The bottom picture is when we were putting in the drip field out among the trees, and it's working fine. Renovated the interior of Stonehenge Grill. We added the Stonehenge deck. You know, it was a small concrete deck out there, added a wooden deck. We updated the Heatherhurst exterior, which I'll have a picture of. We formed the Trails Committee and added walking pails on Kingsborough to connect to Catoosa. It's kind of interesting. A lot of stories how it started, but I think I have the right one. A friend of mine and played golf with, Harold Schultz, I don't know if he's here, but he and his wife used to like to hike and still do, but I told him one day when the Glastonbury spillway was running pretty heavy, you ought to go down to the bottom of the hill, and he did, got pictures of it. It's major waterfalls. He wrote a little article, and we got it put into the Vista, and immediately we got John Conrad and a bunch of other people got involved to get the Trails Committee going, and that's kind of where the kickoff for it came. And John, what do we have now? 300-400 people involved in the Trails Committee?
Well, not that many involved in the Trails Committee, but certainly a huge number in the community are supportive of it, either walking on the trails or...
Yeah, using the trails, that number is very significant. They have a lot of people that help build the trails also. Stonehenge Grill. Some before and after pictures. If you haven't been here for 4 years, you don't remember the before pictures, and it also shows the deck that was added. Heatherhurst, before and after, and walking paths. Just picture of one. There's more than that. In 2013, we implemented amenity reserve fee for property transfers. We added a St. George Marina Pavilion kitchen because we were at the point that the county food service wouldn't allow us to use it anymore unless we had that. We built a new Dorchester pool house. We started updating directional signs, and we also started installing all new street signs. That doesn't sound like much till you start counting how many intersections there are in Fairfield Glade. And the funny thing about that, we started it, and then the federal government changed the rule. It used to, the green and white signs used to be all capital letters. Then they said, no, can't do it. First letter has to be capital, the rest of them have to be small letters. So the ones that were up had to be replaced. That's all over the country, not just here. The new irrigation system at Dorchester for the whole golf course. We had a lot of people that didn't like to play Dorchester because the cart paths were so bad. If you remember, you really bounced around a lot. And all we heard was, great, we can actually take the cart and go from one hole to the next. We also, during this 5-year period, put in new irrigation systems to 3 golf courses, each costing over $1 million apiece. And that's something you don't see. You know, it's all buried. Unfortunately, most of it's buried in rock is why it was so expensive. There's the St. George Marine with the pavilion, the old pavilion, and the new one, now with restrooms, etc. There's the St. George Pavilion. Fish fries netted $17,000 in the year 2013. Dorchester Pool Cabana, and the new one. If you look at the old cabana and then go look at some of the timeshare buildings that are around here, it was just a timeshare building that was put there at the time. Probably all they could afford, and so that's what it was. And the new one on the bottom picture shows what's there now. Another picture of the Dorchester pool area. In 2014, we built a new Druid Hills pool house. New sign at the four-way creating a sense of arrival. Somebody must have leaned on the light switch. New docks at St. George Marina, and we started the new Dorchester Clubhouse. The pictures show there we go, Druid Hills Pool Cabana. Improved our sense of arrival, the old look and what's there now. New four-way stop signage at Peavine and Stonehenge. 2015, opened the new Dorchester Clubhouse. Also, we formed the Financial Advisory Committee. We also formed, at the end of 2014 or into 2015, the Property Standards Committee. And it really got active this year, and that was formed on the basis that we had an ACC looking out for, new things going in, but we needed to make sure that existing homes, et cetera, continued to keep their place up. We found that it's almost like a rotten egg or something. If you get one, it just mushrooms and becomes worse. And we started getting complaints from people saying these people are not taking care of their yard, et cetera. So the Property Standards Committee has really gotten on that. And they have a handbook they put together with all the guidelines and principles that are out of our ACC rules, et cetera. And there's a few in the back, I guess. However, Phil Birdsall just told me we had 2,500 printed, they're gone. We're printing 5,000 more right now, so they will be available, and we'll get a note out, an email blast when they are available. But you need to really look at it. It just kind of puts a synopsis together of everything that does exist. Bob, there it is. There's the old Dorchester Clubhouse. Looks kind of nice. The only problem is it wasn't safe to go up on the second floor. It also, if you look at it, was an old timeshare building. And then the new Dorchester Clubhouse. In 2016, renovated the Fireside Lounge, start clearing for outdoor pickleball courts. Some pictures of the Fireside Lounge. Was going to ask people how many people go there at least 4 times a month, but I don't want to have people holding up their hands. But I think we need to patronize them if we want to continue to have the best we can. Another picture of Fireside Lounge. Other noteworthy items. No additional debt in the last 5 years. We refinanced this building loan with the same term but a lower rate. We reduced the overall debt of the community club in the last 5 years from $9 million to $5 million. And it was a high of almost $12 million a couple of years before that. Trails Committee and volunteer trail builders have added 10 miles of nature trails. Timeshare visitors have indicated that the trails are one of their primary reasons for coming. And that now that we have all those trails, it continues up, even though our timeshare attendance this year was down. Don't know all the reasons why. It can't be because the timeshares are not being taken care of. As you've seen in the last 2 years, Wyndham is rebuilding the timeshares. As a matter of fact, they just started on Oak Knoll this week to rebuild that whole complex. So I don't know how many they've got left to do, Barbara. I know that they've done.
Stonecastle
They are just starting the first building.
Stone Castle, they're starting on the last one on that too. So, our timeshares are updated and they're modern. We hope to finish the pickleball courts by May of 2017. Stonehenge Clubhouse, considering adding a back porch to that like we did at Dorchester. And this is just in the beginning stages. I can't walk, well, I guess I can. If you can see on here, this area up in here is where the old atrium is, which is leaking so bad that we're going to have to take it off and put a wall in there. I'm proposing then to make that area into an outside covered deck that will have 5 tables under cover, et cetera, and have a door to go in that way. Just now getting the initial drawing started on that, but as we get further, we'll put it out so you can make comments about it, what you like about it, don't like about it, et cetera. Yesterday, Bob, or day before, we received a check from TDOT for $204,000 for buying the land that they're taking away from Fairfield Glade around Robin Hood Park. Part of what they're taking away is all the parking, et cetera. So we're going to reserve that $204,000 until this Peavine Road construction gets completed so that we know what we have to do. We may have to get a parking lot put in there before the road construction even really gets going. So once we know what's happening, so we've got some money to take care of that. Speaking of Peavine Road, I can personally testify that at least two of the new poles by VEC have been put up. They've got the cross arms on them. How long it's going to take them to finish the whole thing, I don't know. But the last word we had from the county and the state, Peavine Road is still set for December 12th bid opening. Okay. Just wanted to get a better feel for what's going on. Like I said, the $3 million of irrigation systems that are buried underneath the golf courses, you don't see them, but they're there. So, do we want to hold questions and answers to the end, Bob, or any? If anybody does have any questions, we can try to answer. Okay. Go to a microphone if you're going to ask questions so we can hear, please.
I'm pretty sure you all can hear me because I'm another one that's got a big voice. And I just want to verify the Financial Advisory Committee. I'm sorry, Cheryl Brunski. I think you used the wrong name. I think you should have used You're talking about property and everything.
That's the Property Standards Committee.
All right, but the financial advisory, when we were told last year, was to look at how the money was being spent.
We do have, right, a Financial Advisory Committee, and Harry Price, as treasurer, works with them a couple times a month going over anything that comes to the board dealing with finances. We have the Financial Advisory Committee to evaluate whether or not it's something that fits with our, what we want to do.
Okay, but that's not what I'm saying. You were talking
Well, I can't hardly hear you.
and how it looks and how we're keeping up our property. I don't think that's the financial advisory.
It's not. How we keep up our properties is property standards. Anything else? Okay, let's move on. Oh, there you are. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I would like to commend the board for the improvements that you have made. As a realtor in Southern California for over 30 years, property values can increase by virtue of what happens in the community. You mentioned in your talk that you had redone the fireside room, and it would be nice if more people would go and utilize that facility. As a health-conscious person, I work with 3 doctors here in Crossville, and we put on reversing and preventing diabetes seminars. And I would like to suggest that the restaurants of Fairfield Glade consider adding some things to the menu that would be more health conscious for those of us who are concerned about our health. We would all like to live as long as we can, and I find that the menus here really don't look to that part of our lives. I have spoken with your chef at Legends on several occasions about this. He is not willing to make any changes. There are a number of us, not only here in Fairfield, but all over Crossville, who are concerned about our health. And it would be nice to see Fairfield Glade get on board with that, and I would be glad to help you with that in any way that I can. My name is Linda Bells. My phone number is 931-484-8249. Please give me a call.
Will you get the phone number to me after the meeting, if you would? I'm one of those that's on the health kick. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it. I've had a heart attack, and I've recovered very well from it, and I really do try to watch it. So if you'll see me after the meeting, I'll pass that on. I know there's a couple other people had questions.
Hello, I'm Mary Jane Ware, and it's not a question but more a suggestion that you consider. We have our boat at Dartmoor Marina, and we like to use it other hours when the marina is closed. So if we could have some way to use a restroom, have it there at the maybe an outdoor access to the restroom area, any way that we could use that more often and comfortably would be a great consideration.
We'll look into it. I don't know anything about it, but we'll get the right people to look at it. Anybody else?
Yes. You've advertised that you're going to have a meeting after this meeting to discuss bylaws and land use. I would like you today, before this meeting is dismissed, tell us what those kind of things are. You don't have to go into detail, but I'd hate to see a lot of people get up and leave, especially since you don't have
It's on the
enough.
agenda.
On the agenda for this meeting?
Well, right at the end.
You have it as after the meeting, do you not?
I've got my...
Understanding was that you're going to say this meeting is finished as an annual meeting, and then there's going to be a meeting after this.
No, it'll flow right into that. It's just legality of closing this meeting. It'll be one meeting going through, and we may not even do that. We asked our attorney if we could just continue straight into it, and I don't know if we ever got an answer back from him, Bob.
Okay, that's fine.
We
But
did.
I think you should let people know what the bylaw is that you're going to discuss.
We are.
Okay, before
We
you
are.
dismiss the meeting.
Yes.
That's all I'm asking.
Yes.
We did talk to our attorney. We're going to officially adjourn the annual meeting, but then we're going to roll right into
Right
the
into
next
the next
meeting.
one.
There's-
Just jumping from
Yeah.
item 6
There
to
should be
item
very
7
little
on the
pause,
agenda.
if any.
Yeah. We're not going to take a break. Anything else? Yes.
Hi, we're new to Fairfield Glade. We just moved here August 1st, and we're still trying to figure out our way here. But one concern that we have is our road. We live on Wilburn Circle, and there are only 5 homes on that, and it's a paved road, but there are cracks in the road, and there's vegetation growing in the cracks. So we had informally spoken with a couple people regarding how funds are allocated for the improvement of the roads, and didn't get a really satisfactory answer.
But technically,
address
all the
that.
roads in Fairfield Glade are county roads except for Peavine Road, which is a state road. The county's supposed to be taking care of them. And as you can see, it doesn't happen. We spend a lot of our money taking care of roads. And every year, a team from Fairfield Glade goes out and looks at all the roads and puts them on a critical needs list, and to do as many of them as we possibly can that year, and then every year it's updated. Is that fair enough, Bob? That's the way we're doing it? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Not, let's go on to the next item on the agenda. Where do I find it?
Hello.
Oh, wait.
Hello.
Oh, there's- okay.
After the ice storm, we were promised this building would be put on a generator. Has that been done?
No, it has not, and the cost to do it is just unbelievable, and we are looking at that, and Red Cross is looking